Hello and welcome to episode 18 of our Timberborn Update 6 Emberpelts hard mode playthrough here in cycle 25, day 1. We're going to hit pause right off the bat because many of you noted that we have a stuck beaver. We have a silly Billy we got to rescue before we could do anything else. And I don't know how this guy got in here, but however it happened, we got to fix it. And this is just about to be built, and it's going to be a huge pain if that gets finished and this guy's not done. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then all we got to do is just put in a staircase, and that will get sorted out in due time. But other than that, last episode, the biggest question I asked was, do you guys want me to update this playthrough to update 7 experimental? And the answer was a resounding yes. So we will be doing that, but not right now because they keep pushing updates to the updates, and it breaks all the mods. And I'm gonna give it a couple more days. We're gonna try and see if I can make that happen for Monday's video. But like every time I've tried to go in and put this in the new update and make sure everything works, they push another update and then all the mods break. Like, well, that's not gonna be a smart choice. But yes, your voice has been heard. Pretty much every single person's said that that's what they want to see. So we are gonna do that. Just gonna have to take a little bit of time. But we are in a really good spot entering this episode because we have our trees for the purposes of making planks and gears and all sorts of stuff in here growing. And this area is finally mostly automated. Mostly. I say mostly because there's still a couple things that need to be taken care of and improved. But we are a substantial portion of the way there, and we're continuing to make more bots. Actually, we have another one right now that just came online. But we're going to be, more than anything else, focusing today on getting this completely independent for the bots, putting in wood production facilities over here. As these trees continue to grow, they are going to be harvestable today in this episode, so that's exciting. And there's all sorts of other little things that we're going to be taking care of as well. Obviously, we have these guys here, these pine trees that we are getting the resin from, which we can bring over here to... I always click on the wrong refinery. We can bring over here to the refinery that's making the lubricant. And then the lubricant, when it's actually finished, can go in this underground tank. But right now we can't really keep up with the demand for the resin, so you're not going to see that because it's just going to get used by the bots as fast as it's being made. But we are working on it. And to answer a couple questions in the comments, yes, we are going to be growing some pine trees over here as well. So let's go ahead and get those rolling here. I think it's really not going to take a huge quantity of pine trees, but I do think I'd like to keep more or less this size area dedicated solely to pine trees. Keep in mind we do have this here, and I do think I'm going to leave these in place for the purpose of getting pine resin from. But remember, if this is going to be a separate district, we do want to have as much on the side of this district as we possibly can, and we're going to keep on working into that regard as much as possible. So the reason this path is here, it's not going to be here forever, but it's here so we can, actually put in all of these new terrain blocks that we are working on getting dirt for over here, and that is a process that always takes a super, super long time. But we do have the dirt excavator on the task. We do have extract being made literally right next door. We got tons stored. So that's not a problem. The problem is this thing's running really slowly because it's not automated. And this is a perfect building for automation, except we don't have the science for it. So, number cruncher fans, yes, your time has come once again. We will be building additional number crunchers. I just had to be able to justify the power consumption. And since recently, we've had this bad water discharge put in place, and this one's also in the process of being built, but I paused it because we didn't have enough gears. We are going to be able to pretty much, I say year-round, but the beavers don't measure time in years, they measure it in cycles, but you get what I'm saying. We're going to have the resources to actually run these things constantly. So, it's a little ugly, a little tiny bit ugly, but they're not going to line up. We're just going to pop another one of these over here. And I'm pretty sure they can reach this. They should be able to. If not, then we will make that adjustment. But I think either they come in from this side or they come in from this side. Let's just hook this up so they have a actual, a defined shorter path. Get this on triple speed because it's not necessarily the right idea to be going super slow. as we're working here. And I'm going to open these sluices, or at least this one, so we can get this filled up again a little bit. Because we do have to do something with this at some point, but for right now it does no harm to just get water in here, so long as we have everything taken care of over here with regard to water being pumped out, which we do, and water being stored up here, which we do. And again, we talked last episode a little bit about blasting this out, increasing capacity. That is a long-term goal, but as things stand right now, I think it's probably a little bit more prudent to focus on what's going on up here. So, all of that being said, very, very, very long-winded, I guess, introduction, so to speak. But we need to get started on the whole actual industrial processes over here with regard to the wood. This industrial pile for the dirt really should not be in this exact spot. This is about to become a very, very busy place. First off, we've got to have an underground pile for all of our wood. And there's a bunch of different spots where this could go. I think right here is probably not a bad choice. One, because this is not irrigated land, and it's not really being used for anything. And this is already put in place with ladders and everything. I think it's going to be fine. So we'll just go ahead and put this here, set that for log storage, and that's going to allow us to have pretty easy access to stuff. It's not too far away from all these things, and as we continue filling this in, this path is going to connect. We talked about this a couple times, but I would like this to be a very easy thoroughfare here, and we're going to get that as nicely organized as possible. Another thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have additional power brought over here. Not really a big problem at all, because the liquid fuel engine generates 1,000 HP, which is more than enough for us to put in a number of large lumber mills and large gear workshops. So for that to be a viable thing, we probably should take a look at the actual consumption of these things, but I honestly don't want to, so I'm not gonna sit here and attempt to commit math. That I can absolutely assure you of. But what I do want to do is I do want to get this kind of set up in the best possible manner for us to have a good and solid use case for all of this space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a little trench here, because we do have plenty of explosives. Get this set up so we can have power transfer under the path. And then, of course, on top of this, I will be putting additional lumber mills, so on and so forth. But we can go ahead and start the process of getting all of this situated here. Now, as we go along, I'm going to pause this so they don't actually build it. What I'm going to do is we have this underground pile here, and these levees actually don't need to be here. They can be replaced with dirt, and they don't necessarily have to be. But what I'm getting at is we have a tremendous opportunity here to stack storages. And we have the large industrial piles have this second story entrance. So if we're able to make a, I guess like a platform for this, we could have a 600 capacity storage for, say, planks right on top of that outside of this large lumber mill here. And we could put a couple of these in place. There's really good flexibility with how we have this set up. We just have to think a little bit about how we want stuff to go, and make sure that we're not being completely stupid when we go about doing all this stuff. But you know how it goes. You're familiar with the process. We just kind of got to let it happen and occupy ourselves with other stuff that can be adjusted while we're waiting on everything else. So in that vein, a couple comments saying that we're low on radishes, I think, if I remember correctly. We got 1,600 beets. But you would be correct in saying that we're low on radishes, because this is a... now it's gone. There was a single radish there. A single radish. And the reason... Okay, now there's 3. But the reason I brought up beets is because those kind of go in tandem, right? We have this... I don't know which one it is. One of these beet and radish juice. There we go. That's where all of our... that's where all of our radishes are going right now. But we have so many more beets available that the radishes just can't keep up. So, we take a look at what we've actually planted here. We got beets here, we got bell peppers, we got tomatoes, we got bell peppers, we got all sorts of things alternating. And I don't think it's a bad idea to go ahead and just plant a bunch more radishes in an area like this. I asked you guys last time what you want to do with this area here, because we did kind of disrupt the whole thing trying to fill in our trench over here and all that. And not really a big consensus among the comments about whether or not we need to keep this as apples or turn it into something else. But keep in mind, we do have a whole lot of apple trees up here that are being harvested, and our apple storage is basically full, so I'm not going to feel bad about getting rid of a bunch of this as apple trees. So I think probably what's going to make the most sense is for us to kind of take a look at this gather flag. It does have the range to get to the rest of this, but I think what we're going to do is I'm going to just choose an arbitrary cutoff point, and I'm just going to get rid of the apple trees into this general area here. We can go ahead and cut down a decent portion of they're not even harvesting these, and their storage is already completely full. So let's just say everything from here goes away, and then we can actually plant a few more apple trees up into this area. Let's just get these unmarked for cutting. Get that unmarked for cutting as well, and just, you know, kind of let this be what it's going to be. We don't need to have paths here, so that'll let us get a couple more trees in place. But again, I'm not going to be investing a whole lot of energy into doing this because we have a ton of apples. I just want to clear a little bit of space so we can have some additional plants. These radishes, I'm hopeful that this is going to be enough. It's not really the closest crop to all these farmhouses, but there are a lot of farmhouses. So we're just going to kind of keep an eye on what's going on here and see if anything has to be adjusted as time goes by. But you will note that there is no silly Billy here. We've successfully unsillied the Billy, and it is going to be time to get this patched back as well. Not for any specific reason, just because we can, I guess. Not really a great motivating statement to make there, but it's I really don't think it's that serious. I just wanted to get something accomplished there. But we have 8 unemployed bots, and the science is continuing to accumulate. This takes 4,000 science. Somebody asked specifically in the comments how much science the mine would take, and that is 1,000. So we have all these extra bots, and our metal numbers are severely declining. So let's go ahead and research this and get, I think the magic number is 9 unless they messed with the ratios again. I know in update 7 that's changed, but this is still update 6. So we're going to have our 9 bots in there. That does take a bot away from somewhere else, but this area is actually set up so that the bots can thrive. Let's also not forget we have control towers we have to be able to do something with, but, that'll come in due time. We'll get things figured out. Not going to be a big deal. Just got to keep on doing what we're doing. Yeah, they're going to be really slow getting rid of these apple trees, but that's totally fine. I'm not really super concerned about it. Just doing what we can when we can with what we got. Now, I know we already talked about our gear production is very, very low. We are trying to fix that. We're working on it. But in a similar vein, I do have these bot part factories for the heads paused because they consume gears. And for the time being, we do still have a decent stock of those, and we're not exactly trying to rush bots anymore. We're just trying to, turn stuff eventually into bot production. But I do have both of the ones making the heads still pause. We will need to unpause that. But right next to it, you see right here, we have this little storage for gears. We don't have gears right now because we're not really making enough of them. But the reason I bring this up, I don't think we need to have a larger storage for the gears because the only other larger storage option is 1,200, and that's entirely too many gears. Well, for where we are right now. But I just want to let you guys know I am thinking about it. And if we need to, we can just add a second gear storage right on top, and that'll be 400, which I think is a much more palatable number for the size of the colony we have right now. But looks like we're getting a drought in 3 days. We have a very, very, very full storage of water. Everything is looking pretty nice here. Feeling good. We have a nice full storage here. Well, I say storage. This is storage. As time goes by, we do want to, once we have the, I always point at the clay, once we have the dirt required, we do want to start filling some of this in, I think. Because I like the idea of having all this irrigated so we can eventually plant stuff here. We're just not quite there yet. Not quite there. But you can see right here that, again, gears are a problem. But the rest of this is coming along pretty nicely, and it's a good investment for us to be making, same as this bad water discharge is. So what I'm going to do for the sake of the actual production of power, I'm going to pause this number cruncher, and I'm going to unpause. I know, even though it's 138 gears away, this is the best possible use of our gear production at this time, I believe. Could be wrong, but that's all right. I'm going to try to get them to make this bad water discharge, because that's going to, remember, we're in hard mode, so this drought could be up to 30 days long, and we need the power production. We did help things along pretty nicely with the addition of this liquid fuel engine, and of course we can continue doing that. But we don't want to run our fuel resources too thin, even though we have a tremendous quantity. Now remember, as we get more bots, they're going to keep consuming it, and there really isn't very much fuel being stored here either, because we're using so much of it. All things in time. All things in time. It looks like this area here is coming along quite nicely with the terrain being put in place, which does mean we can plant some additional oak trees, keep our foresters busy. I'll just go ahead and get those going. And yeah, just have to make sure that this is going to be reachable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, probably is going to be okay. Maybe. They can also, you know, come in from this side once this is reachable. Actually, this hasn't been built yet. Let's pause that so they can actually come in this way. Everything in time. Eventually, it works. So we have fuel kind of storages in different spots across the map, but they're not prioritized by haulers. So I think that's causing problems, and that probably isn't a controversial statement to be making. So we do need to come in here, and we need to make sure the hauling posts are staffed, which they are. But we don't have we don't really have a good setup for the bots to be haulers, because again, we really should have control towers. We should have more stuff. We should have lubricant and all these other places. There's a method to this, right? If you rush into it, it's going to be suboptimal. But there's also not really a huge detriment, outside of if the bots run out of fuel, then they just go really slowly and congregate at the edge of the district center, which is not what you want. But you'll see that we do have the science. Not yet for the dirt excavator, which I really do want to get going with bots, but I think the 1,000 science we have right now is going to be a good investment with the control towers, even though they require gears, and we're working on it. We're working on the process. We're going to get there. But there is a certain order to things, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say a gear workshop going right here is going to be super important. So I do want to get that built. Go ahead and get the gears in place, because you know, we have to start making some. Even though it's better, I think, to just kind of have everything be set up in a way that guarantees it's going to be working. At the end of the day, we do have a limited amount of time to accomplish all this stuff, and I do present these as unedited videos, so I'm pretty sure I'd drive people absolutely insane to just spend the whole episode waiting because, oh, well, we said we're going to wait. Like, no, that's stupid. You don't have to do things for the sake of being pedantic to the point of detriment. So get this large gear workshop in place, and we can bring in any manner of engine options, but it just makes sense, I think, to put in a liquid fuel engine, and I do think that it's going to make the most sense to just pop this thing. Honestly, probably needs to be on this end, but you know how that goes. I'm gonna pop it over here so it can be kind of out of the way. Just get these things put in place. I'm going to put another one next to it, but we don't have to build it right away. We can put power shafts in. Just trying to accommodate future needs as necessary. So if I put this thing here, then we have one here, eventually one here, another one here, and then we can have a second row all the way behind this. Of course, power goes underneath. And 1,000 HP should be good for, see, 3 of these. These are 180 apiece, plus 3 of these, I imagine. And then maybe we can put another one somewhere else, but you know, just making stuff work. Just making it work. This also most likely needs to just be made out of dirt, because we can. Again, there's not really any set method for this beside just, alright, just do it. Yes, I see it takes 50 gears to make the liquid fuel engine, but don't worry, don't worry. Remember, there's so many options for us to do stuff, including the large power wheel. Everybody's favorite torture device. So, we have all these beavers who aren't working. You bored? You're stuck at home? Guess what, bucko? It's time to come on over and run on the wheel. We can't put bots on here, unfortunately. But we got a lot of these logs, and we got beavers that have nothing to do. So, you know, might as well put them to work. Start the process. Even if this is going to go away, it's a decent way to get things started and ensure that we can at least make some gears in the process. Remember, everything takes time, but it doesn't have to take a whole long time. Now, let's hit pause real quick because I did kind of forget. I'm going to close these sluice gates before, not after, before we get to the start of the drought, so that we don't waste any more water coming through here. I just like to have this because it's already going to waste anyway. Might as well just fill this up for as long as it takes for this to evaporate. How long is the drought going to be? Okay, 17 days. Not like the drought cycle is a challenge anymore at this point in the playthrough. It's more about managing resources than survival. But things are looking pretty okay. These guys are continuing to put in work here, but, you know, everything does take its own prescribed amount of time. And hopefully they get to these large power wheel logs sooner rather than later. Should not be a big deal. Looks like we're continuing to work this way. We've got more of these. And we've got oak trees ready to go. So, go ahead and get these lumberjacks brought in. And importantly, yes, we do have to mark these trees for cutting. I have not forgotten. Technically. We'll just go ahead and get them popped in here, so we don't have to do it later. It looks like they didn't plant these trees because that wasn't actually irrigated, so that's fine, I suppose. Make sure this is ready to go. And then, importantly, do not mark the pine trees because we're using those for the purpose of the resin, which we will have to build a tapper shack for. But that's something that takes gears, and I'm trying to hold off on producing those. So now we're bringing in logs. Well, slowly. They're also, you know, trying to fill this stuff up. So let's hit pause on that. Yeah, they just immediately turned around. Yeah, sorry, job's canceled. Go home. But we got to get this thing built. Here they go. Here they go. They're bringing stuff in. Getting all sorts of stuff taken care of, and we're looking good, folks. Looking good. I see you've got 11 injured beavers. See, there's so many series going on, I just genuinely don't remember everything that I've done. So, we do have these. That's fine. That's good. Just wanted to make sure we weren't looking completely terrible. Now, I see radishes still very, very, very much out of stock, as it were. This has helped. Maybe not as much as it should, but it has helped. And that's something we can look forward to taking care of. Eventually, as time permits, just let them continue cutting these trees down. Not really having to worry about anything. This guy probably is pretty busy with all the maple syrup, but that's a fine problem to have. Alright, come on, bring me my logs. Let's go, people. Let's go, people. You're holding up all of our beavers. There we go. Now they're coming in. I knew it would take them a little bit of time because we're so far away, but that is going to be tremendously helpful to get operating. Now there's only 20 beavers that are sending their bored to tears, but not for long. Not for long. Come on in here and get walking. Especially now the well-being is 30. That should be a little bit higher than 300 HP. We might be looking at about 320, 330. Maybe. I don't remember exactly what the conversion is for the bonuses versus HP generation. But looks like we're ready to go. Hey, here we go. We got our 4 beavers. Come on to work now. Let's go. I know it's super far away and it's not going to be super optimal production at all times, but it's better than nothing. All right, look at that. 314. Wait, where's the 4th beaver? 419. Wow. Okay. That's tremendous. That's absolutely fantastic. And now we're making additional gears. Every 1.5 hours, we get 1 gears. A single gears, yes. Single plurals, whatever. I don't know. I wasn't an English major. But hopefully, pretty soon we can get that turned into a liquid fuel engine. I think it's going to be better. Let's go ahead and detonate this so I can start building the structure. Time waits for no man or beavers, so get that put in place there, and then I can pop in another gear workshop. That's a good thing to be spinning your gears on, is one of these guys and then one of these guys. This is ready to go as well, so why not just do it all at once? Let's get this whole thing situated as best as we can, and continue going through this way. I do want to fill all of this in with the dirt, and it looks like we have a full storage, but I want to make sure that this gets done first. Well, it's not like I really can control too much of that anyway, but we'll go ahead and just bring that side in there. No, not from the top, not from the top. Come on. Let's get that going there, and then bring those in, and this should get these connected nicely. And we can worry about filling in the rest later. I just want to make sure that this is taken care of before it gets to be a huge, huge problem. I'm very impressed. This is like, that's like an additional 35% productivity. Even though it says it's only 72% productivity. Over the base rating of 300. Not too shabby at all. I'm feeling pretty good about that. 5 more gears, and then the rest of these will come very quickly there. How are we looking there? 40 gears. I'm going to make the executive decision that probably the liquid fuel engine's a bit more important than putting in the underground pile. But I do want to get this situated first. It's just about there. We need 1 more gear. 1 more gear. Are they going to take it all the way over to that storage before it can come back over here? They absolutely are. That's absolutely what's going to happen. Well, we are going to, you know, get this taken care of with other stuff as we continue moving along. We can put in overhangs and all sorts of stuff to have storage right here, or we can put it on the backside. I don't think it really matters that much. But very, very soon, we will have all 1 gear. I'll just go ahead and unpause this, make it easier for everybody involved. And we're going to get pretty close to getting this popped in as well. I don't think we really need a tremendously huge quantity of plank production. But if this is going to be its own district, then we do still need to have the capacity there. So that's got to be built. But before that one gets done, I am going to pop in this here as well. And of course, like I said, gear workshops on the back here, super, super easy thing to do. There is going to be a third one here once this liquid fuel engine is put in place. And I think that is going to probably handle most of our needs. But if it turns out, you know, that they need a little bit more, then of course we can add some more. Now let's take a look over here. Radish numbers are still basically 0, but, you know, this has improved. So I think that is a pretty good sign that we should continue planting some more. Just want to make sure we're not being completely wasteful with our space here. Go ahead and finish that off. Get that popped in like so. I'm just going to square this off here like we were talking about before. And how long? Okay, you know what? We don't need to be wasteful about our time. We can be wasteful with the apple trees because we have, once again, basically full apple storage. Not quite, technically. But it's enough where I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue anymore. Now, if these numbers can get up into the couple hundreds, then I'll feel a little bit better. Obviously, I would love to have full storage of basically everything. I think that would be tremendously helpful. But, you know, all that stuff does take time. So we've got basically everything except the gears, and those are being produced here, so that's fine. Now, we have all this space here that hasn't been irrigated, so that is a good candidate for us to come in with some storage items. If we were to do overhangs here. I forgot about the trees. They do require a little bit more height. If it's this, okay. You know, I can work with that. I can work with that. Although, admittedly, I maybe should have put a little bit more thought into this. I'm gonna... can I put a double on top of this? No. Can I... Bear with me here. Can I do... Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The game said no, but I said yes. Alright. Well, that's a little concerning, possibly. But we're going to go ahead and... just get this thing rocking and rolling here. Get that path out of the way. Because this is about to be a whole lot of gear storage, folks. And by a whole lot of gear storage, I mean not literally 3,600 gear storage, but we can put plank storage in the way of these industrial piles, and then we can put gear storage in the way of a 200 gear storage somewhere. We have ways of making this work. It's going to be fine. Don't need to worry about it. If it's ugly, then it's ugly, but if it's working, then it's working, you know? So, outside of that, this has been tremendously helpful getting this put in place. There's not really a whole lot I had on the agenda for today. Obviously, we're not done yet. We're probably not even close. But actual defined things to make sure we improve. That was chiefly among them. And then I think our gear production is still not quite robust enough to turn this number cruncher construction back on. We also still haven't finished the bad water discharge, so that is still a priority. But we're going to get to all of this in due time. We have extra bots right now, which I would love to put to work doing other stuff, but the control towers still need more gears before those are viable. What else can I justifiably convert? See, I feel like stuff right here, these grist mills probably aren't really being used that much to make that worthwhile. But the presses are pretty much going all the time. So if I go ahead and, thank you, autosave. If I go ahead and just convert these, we do have fuel readily available. The labor required to do these does not involve a whole lot of walking around, so that's probably a good choice to make that happen. Along with stuff like the kilns, but, you know, we're really not going through enough of this for that to be a huge issue. I don't think. I don't know, could be wrong. Frequently am, but that's okay. We just have a whole lot of stuff that needs to get done. Hey, liquid fuel engine's all taken care of. Good, good, good. So that means that we have the opportunity here to put a fuel tank. We don't need a big one for this. Not necessarily. So if we were going to do that, then I think this would be a decent place to do it. Just put a medium tank right there. Set that to not bad water. Fuel. That's what that's called. Good job. Just get this popped over right there. Should be totally fine. And eventually they'll get working on that. Note to self, do not open this bad water discharge under any circumstances. That is for the protection of the trees. See, these guys are... actually, you know what? This lumberjack flag here, if the fuel is close enough, which I guess currently it isn't really, but if this is put in place, then, you know, that's pretty close. This would be a good candidate to have as automated with the bots. And we have the extra ones, so we might as well go ahead and do it. Just get that taken care of. Again, keeping an eye on everything that's happening here. I think if I have enough gears, we're still a little low on gears, but I think the benefit is going to be, if we go ahead and remove that, pop this guy in here, make that the biggest priority. This can get built quickly enough to where it's not going to be that big of a problem. Those 4 beavers can go do whatever else they want, and they don't have to walk around in a circle forever anymore. Just get this taken care of. 10 gears should not be too hard to find, but we do have to be careful because I did cut these guys off from power to make that happen. And I think most of those supplies are probably headed over here, so if we hit pause, then that will at least stop that from being a problem. So, anyway, they should be able to get this done sooner rather than later. And the other consumptions of gears should not be an issue. Now, one thing I did just notice, we're out of heads for bot creation, because I do have all of those paused, but we're going to turn that back on very shortly, just as soon as this is ready to go. Because we do have a finite amount of lifetime for those bots, and we don't want to run out. That would be very annoying. But it is something that does just take time. Keeping an eye on the pines as well. Within the next 6 days, we need to put in a tapper's shack in this general vicinity. And that's something that can go up here too. Most likely would be totally fine. We just have to decide what's going to make the most sense. We do have this large underground pile for logs, so I don't think I really have to have anything else going on here. I believe the pine trees, they're all the same height, so if we're going to utilize this space for a tapper shack, probably would not be the worst possible idea. But just for everyone's edification, this is for a 200 storage, and then we can put the other one on this side here. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. There we go. And we actually have a ladder that I can pop in here to extend this completely up by itself. Just get these all connected nice and easy like. And then that's going to allow us to put this in here nice and easy. That's going to go there nice and easy. And then I'm just going to do regular industrial piles for the planks, because that's probably the easiest thing to do. And it doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look great either, but, you know, if it's functional, then that's fine. Still hilariously out of out of radishes, no matter what. So maybe we need to plant a lot more of those. I figured this was going to be way too many radishes, but yeah, I guess I was wrong. But we're making a lot more gears now. Every hour and a half, each of these puts out 1 gear. So in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that many gears. But we're getting very, 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 very close to having all of this more or less completely good to go. Just maybe need to think about putting in a little bit more. So this is taking up 615. When this goes up, it'll be 680, which does mean that I've only got enough quote-unquote headroom for 1 large gear workshop and maybe another large plank thing. Technical terms only. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say we need to commit to putting in another large gear workshop on the back here. Just get this growing about as well as we can. And we are going to have another liquid fuel engine somewhere, which honestly probably makes the most sense to just put it here, because that's what's available. But when we get to that point, we'll get to that point. Let's go ahead and turn on our bot part factories for the heads once again. These are automated, by the way, so that'll take care of our extra bots that weren't doing anything. Getting all of this ready to go, making slow progress, but progress nonetheless. And that brings us back over here. We're only missing 28 of these, so that shouldn't take too much longer. We have 32 gears in storage, so I imagine our builders are going to come right over here to take care of this. And then that's going to get our area over here pretty much permanently set at the same power output forever, which is going to be great because that's going to allow us to put in our second number cruncher, which will get us science faster, which will make it possible for us to do X, Y, and Z, and then the whole thing just compounds over and over and over and over and over again. Construction on all this is probably still going to take a decent bit of time, but we do have another 4 days-ish, 3.5, 4 days before we get to a lot more pine resin coming in. We do still have some coming in, you know, constantly because of this. But that's something that does take time because we have a single tapper shack working on all of this. And honestly, they probably could use a friend to do some of that workload as well. And we've got space here to do it, so why don't we Why don't we just do that? Just pop another one of these in here. That is storage for fuel there. But probably doesn't hurt for us to have another storage for maple syrup in this area as well. Just incremental improvements as we can. And I'll put a little warehouse for pine resin here just because that is going to be a decent space filler. Small improvements, one piece at a time. Yeah, see, these bots can't even keep up with all this. I guess I can go ahead and unpause that one. And unpause that one even if they're not bots. So we are working slowly toward getting all of this taken care of. We should have this completed. Looks like it is. And it is very good, very good. Now we need 83. We need 83 gears for this number cruncher. I don't think we're quite there yet. But we are making good progress. How are we looking here? Okay. So this probably should be next. Let's just go ahead and prioritize that. Yeah, the gear situation is still pretty dire. Oh, it's not perfect, it's not terrible, but we'll get everything as improved as we can. Look at these guys go. Love watching them do that. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer before they get that taken care of. The planks, I guess, are kind of an issue, but remember, all this is going to improve once they build the rest of this. Just got to make it happen. We do have these guys working on getting scrap metal out, so that's been good. To try to keep up with our metal block production. Probably should think about automating these soon. Okay, we just need the one gear, and looks like we got it coming right here. Somebody's just got to come finish it, and there we go. That's not connected by pass because that's not put in place. But that's very good news. So this will bring this up to math 870, which unfortunately only gives us 130 for headroom, which is not enough to put in another large gear workshop and have zero. Well, it's not lag. I don't know why that's the word I wanted to use. Oh, that wasn't ticked. Let's do that. Just gotta see what's more important to have all of these operating at like 80-something% efficiency versus all of them operating at 100% but outputting technically less. Now we also have the option to, you know, just pause the lumber mill and build this thing, which probably should have been my first attempt anyway. That will make sure that we have enough power before we build any more generation. So we are going to be working on that as time continues. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this has been very productive. Maybe not like the most exciting, most flashy thing we've ever done. But, you know, no regrets. No regrets. What we probably should start doing is deepening this area a little bit. And we can very easily get into that, especially because we have droughts in progress. No, there's a single drought. It is not multiple droughts in progress. It's just one drought. Just one drought. But we can come in here with our triple dynamites and all that fun stuff and just, you know, make the progress that we want to be making in here. If we have this go down to the same level as all of this, then I guess this actually needs to be a... Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to get involved. Not going to get involved in the mental gymnastics. I'm trying to match everything the way that I want it to be matched. We just gotta get done what we can get done and not worry about the rest. But yes, eventually, remember, the regular beavers cannot get wet. Well, they can, but they're just going to be whiny about it, among other things. But any amount of just small improvements we can make while the water is still going down, I think would be a smart choice. But it's probably going to end up having to be bots that come in here and take care of most of this. I just don't want to forget, you know? Because I've been saying for a couple episodes now we're going to do it, and I need to just shut up and do it. Even if it's not going to be perfect, getting something accomplished is going to be better than nothing. Now this can get hooked up. And we should see this once these... Yeah, 975. See, that's a whole lot better. Whole lot better than what we're looking at. Now, this is also consuming 75 HP. Well, now it's 0 because everybody went home. But this only had 25 HP headroom, so we're not going to be able to build another one of these without relying on additional power generation. But our gear situation, I believe, has improved to the point where this is going to be possible for us to be making some decent progress with now. So, get that going there. That can be a nice project for them to work on eventually. I think for right now, you know, maybe the underground pile should be built first. I don't know. We got enough idle beavers now. I honestly should just build a bunch of builders' huts. Just get it over with, right? We don't have to be shy about things. We don't have to be shy. We want stuff to get accomplished. We just got to do it. So that'll give us a whole 16 right there, and I got 18 that are currently jobless. So if we do that, I also have bots that aren't doing anything, which we have said that we're going to be continually working on improving things with. This would be a decent thing for them to do, but we're not quite there yet. Not quite there. This one probably doesn't have fuel close enough to be automated. Tapper's Shack would be a great thing to automate. It'd be so much quicker. And in fact, wouldn't be too hard. It wouldn't be too hard for us to just put 2 little things here. That works. So that's a big helpful improvement to make there. And that probably was overkill. But anything that we can do that will make some sort of relatively quick improvement is probably a good choice. Yeah, look at that. Look how quickly they got this taken care of. I guess it's probably because it was pretty high up on the priority list just by virtue of being one of the older buildings placed down that hadn't been completed. We've got these terrain blocks, of course, probably pretty close there as well. But now that we're actually making the gears, it's looking like it's going pretty well. Fuel numbers only continue to rise, which I guess is a good problem to have. But we still don't have a lot of lubricant. I think the issue... Oh, now it's canola oil, is it? Well, no, we have 2,700 of it. Okay. So, I guess these guys are just slow. Not like they're having to travel super long distances for any of this, but... I guess we'll see. Everything just costs so much science. We really need to get that second number cruncher up. If I think that the gear production is at the point where this is going to make sense, then I guess I can do it, but... What goes in here? Bad water? Okay. Probably, at this point, we're using enough just by getting those other bad water pumps operating, because this is always going to be full. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And we'll check out over here. Hey, look at this. We actually got some progress made here. Okay, feel pretty good about that. I know we are still in the drought, so this isn't really accomplishing much except making more room. But hey, you know, sometimes you just got to do it. Just got to get something done so you can feel like you've accomplished something. So we'll just continue with all this mess just as much as we can. It looks like I can actually get pretty much all of that bit done as well, which is nice. Oh, they're not going to be able to reach this, which is going to be annoying, but whatever. We'll have plenty of time to put in all sorts of bridges and whatnot to get the rest of this done at some other point in time when we don't have other stuff to worry about. But at the very least, because since this is currently not underwater because we're still in a drought, it just makes sense to get these bits. They'll always be able to get this from up top on these paths here, but this is not quite accessible, and it does still add volume, so that's always nice. How are we looking here? Okay, that kind of started on that. Still working on this, I guess. Let's just get these built first, because more builders mean more building more faster. Got 12 injured beavers. Let's just do a check of how many of these... Okay, we only have 10 medical beds. I know this is not like the most optimal setup for these things, but it kind of doesn't matter where they are. They just have to exist. So, might as well just go ahead and put in... I'll go ahead and put 3 more, because I know I have access to those. 7 bots that have nothing going on currently. Wait a second. I might actually be dumb. These have always been able to be automated. I just haven't done it. Alright, well there's your sign. Oh, come on, man. How did I not? How did I not? That should have been like the biggest slam dunk in the history of slam dunks. And yet somehow I failed to recognize that. That's fine. But these guys are producing resin. This also can be a bot very, very easily. That'll get filled up quite nicely. So, yeah, I want to see some lubricant here. I guess we probably just need to build more refineries because they are working. They've got the materials. It is not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. I wonder if it's worth... I know this is really close, but they do have to leave the refinery to actually grab those. It's probably not worth worrying about at this point. Oh, there was one little piece of lubricant. But you don't... It's not a piece of lubricant. It's a liquid. It's not a piece of liquid. It's just liquid. Whatever. But you did see it. There was a tiny little bit. So that's kind of cool. Oh, this is just... This is still such a fun game. Even though there's so much to keep up with. And I guess technically it's still pretty suboptimal the way we're working on stuff. I'm still having a blast. I love this so much. I don't know that I could ever get tired of it. Maybe individual playthroughs, yeah, sure, but the game itself, no. Got 5 more gears, 4 more gears. I almost said 6. I don't know if that would work in a declining balance situation. But that other number cruncher is going to mean that pretty soon, and by pretty soon I mean probably next episode, we'll be able to really start automating stuff, put control towers in, and so on and so forth. But we're doing so well today. I'm really happy with the progress that we've been making. And even though it's a pretty limited in scope what we're doing, it's really, really making some huge strides to getting stuff all situated. And most importantly, stabilized before we try to go to update 7 and start messing with all of the fun stuff that the Emberpelts have, because there's some really cool, unique, and adapted variants of the different transportation methods and all sorts of fun stuff. But now we have our second number cruncher. And the power we're producing is not technically enough, but I think that's probably more to do with these engines not being fully stocked with stuff than anything else. That's a problem that will go away. 3.5 days left. Look at all these trees. Look at all these trees. They can't cut them down fast enough. And somewhere, our dear friend Mike, who's done all the research, is saying, "I told you so," and he'd be absolutely correct. So, yeah, we do need to add additional lumberjack flags. Probably just a couple, though. So I'm going to go ahead and say all these are in place. This right here is going to be a fine place to put number 6. And, of course, we'll get the rest of these automated when we have the extra bots to do it. That's not going to be a bad choice to get that taken care of there. We'll go ahead and pop in oak trees, all of this side as well. And I guess we're probably not needing all of this pine resin, but I do want to make sure that we have enough capacity later on, so I don't want to fill this up with oak trees yet. Plus our wood situation is looking pretty good. This isn't quite ready to have path access because we're still waiting on terrain blocks there. It looks like the terrain blocks have been kind of deprioritized in favor of other stuff, which I definitely understand, because we told these beavers to build a whole bunch of stuff today. But we do still need to make an effort to get all that accomplished. You know what? I probably... You know, it actually... If I end up spending all of my time just worrying about maximizing stuff before doing anything, then nothing's going to get accomplished. But we have created and not inconsequential amount of additional volume. So that's looking good. Is this back to, yep, looking good, looking good. I almost said power. This is not power, this is science, but knowledge is power, so I guess it is power. In its own roundabout sort of way. That's looking good. Our radish numbers have massively increased, so thanks for bringing that to my attention. I would have absolutely never caught that. But they're not, you know, not perfect yet. But we do have that double up arrow from the goods statistics mod. So that's something to be pretty happy about. This does need to get filled in eventually. Let's just pop those in place. And then we just have to decide what goes where. This lumberjack flag can go away because these have all been cut down, which means this path can go away. And then that means that, oh, there we go. There's the path. The canola itself, I mean, we still have a pretty decent amount, but we're going to just keep going through more and more and more of it. So I figured that would be a decent thing to do there. Corn, very obviously, we're never going to have not enough corn at this point in this playthrough. Wheat is probably just a function of storage. We do have plenty that's not being harvested. Everything else, like raw materials-wise, is looking pretty good. Would love to have more cornbread, but that of course requires all sorts of other stuff. Probably wheat has something to do with that as well, but we are making plenty of wheat flour. We have plenty of storage for wheat and corn, and I do have wheat flour and all that. So I think at this point it's probably more bakery versus storage. Where's my cornbread? I don't have any cornbread storage. What? Oh, no, 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 no. That's not going to do at all. That's not going to do at all. No, 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 no. No, no, no. We're going to fix that, let me tell you. What else is super low? Tomatoes, don't really care. But cornbread, for sure. Cornbread needs a storage like cornbread needs storage. You know what I mean? I see this and I see maple pastries because it's basically the same asset. But man, I'm glad we caught that. What else is super low? Baked beets don't have one either. What am I doing, man? What am I doing? I've lost my touch. That's going to get so much stuff improved. We just get that taken care of. Oh, if you prioritize everything, then nothing's prioritized. Exactly. You understand. Yeah, just a little bit more time in this episode. I do try, despite how it may seem, I do genuinely try to keep these at a reasonable length. And, of course they couldn't reach this. Why would I ever think they could reach that? Did I accidentally... Okay, that just needs to be singles. Alright, that's fine. Not like it really matters. But I'm trying. You can't say I'm not trying. I mean, you can, you'd be wrong, but that's fine. Being wrong is okay. As long as you know you're wrong. Alright. We have 2,000 there. I can pop in another large gear workshop, and I could probably put a couple more back here as well. We're going to have a truly tremendous quantity of gears, but now, look, we got like 200 something. Things are looking good. We still don't have any limb surplus, and I know that's a hot topic of discussion. Probably, although I don't want to admit it, probably should put in a 7th gear factory. Sheesh. Limb factory. Bot part factory to make limbs. So I guess technically still a limb factory. I'll tell you what. Let's just do it and just quietly move on. Oh man. What a game. What a game. What a game. Now we got 1.1 days left, and boy, how did we get a whole lot of stuff done. Look at this, look at this. This is all connected now. That's looking pretty nice. We've got a tremendous quantity of gears being produced, which can only improve things. And I'm happy with this. And all of this water didn't evaporate either. And I feel like I can go ahead and just set these to auto so I don't forget. And yeah, let's do our end of episode fun stuff. You already know, Beard Boosters, you make it possible. Cannot do it without your support. Genuinely appreciate you. And even if you're not part of that group, I just want you to know that I'm glad we get to spend this time together as well. Very important to me, and I'm glad that you're here. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one, folks. Again, whole lot of improvements in our gear production and just a general logistics. I'm going to try, I can't guarantee it, but I'm going to try for Monday's episode to be in Update 7. If the mods are going to cooperate, again, I don't really have any control over that. But I'm really excited to see all the fun new stuff in Update 7, not only for the Emberpelts, but just the game in general. And we've been messing with it in some of the other playthroughs. But I think there's going to be some really, really cool stuff we can do in this playthrough with all the transportation options and the improvements and optimizations and everything. So yeah, that's it for this one. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll look forward to hopefully getting to do some fun new stuff in the next episode of this playthrough. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.